Today is the 20th of December, which means it is our Solstice Eve, our Yule Eve. So I'm going to quickly explain what we've done today and what this means for us as a family and what our traditions are. But first I'm going to briefly explain what solstice is to me, for those out there who haven't seen my prior video on Yule. Now solstice is the midwinter, the depth of winter, the heart of winter, the time of the cold, hard frost. Luckily at this moment in time where we are in England is actually being a lot milder than it was a couple of days ago. So our frost has pretty much thawed for now, but the ground underneath the surface soil is still hard, it's still solid, and it's still at rest. For us though, it's a temporary reprieve. This year has become a time of hardship for many, more than other years they may have experienced. We have masses of working families struggling to meet their bills, keep their heating on, and keep their families warm over this winter. It's suddenly become such a time of overwhelm for so many, and those on benefits are barely scraping by. I do feel, however, that makes this year's solstice even more poignant and more significant to myself. Its true meaning. Because solstice isn't just about the hardships of winter, the coldness of winter and the struggles of winter, but it's also about recognising that from this point on, the nights are going to start getting shorter and the days are going to gradually start getting longer. So from this point on, the light begins to make itself known again, minute by minute. As the days go by, the night gets shorter. Here in England, we are still in the depth of our winter, with January and February sometimes seeming the most harsh of the season. However, solstice is still the reminder that the earth, though still in a slumber, is starting to wake up. And though still cold, the nights won't feel as long and dark. The solstice is about hope, regeneration and renewal. Rebirth. So we get that birth connection coming in again. For many of us right now in the UK, hope is essential. We need that hope because that's what's going to get us through the rest of this harsh winter. Sadly for many, when you're in that fight and flight mode, hope can be hard to find and grasp at. The solstice reminds us, however, that we've already made it halfway through the dark half. And we're starting to emerge and come out and make our way through the transition of the dark half into the light half. We're getting there now, we're nearly there. With each new day, we can start to see those signs in nature around us. As well as being a time of rebirth and regeneration, solstice is also a time to go inward. We're still at that stage of recuperation, healing and regenerating ourselves. So it's the perfect time for inner reflection and inner growth. Putting those preparations in place to lay strong foundations for the spring ahead. A time to reflect on what no longer suits your needs, what you can discard and what you can work towards bringing in. A time to journey inward and really connect with yourself. Connect with your families as you snuggle up in front of those seasonal movies. And for many, it's still a time of deep connection to the ancestors. Throughout Northern Europe, there's this deep history of connecting with the ancestors and spirits roaming around the time of Yule. Traditionally, in Scandinavia, this would be the time of the year where the dead would be around them more and they would make them feel welcome in the home. A fire would burn through the night and food and ale would be left out for the ancestors. In Poland, they too would welcome in the dead and leave out a feast and a fire burning they could warm themselves beside. And it's not just in Norse faiths, it is across loads of them. For instance, in Guernsey, the time between St. Thomas's Day, which also falls on the 21st of December, and New Year's Eve is of importance. In Guernsey, it was considered dangerous to go out after dark during that time period, with tales of black dogs and wisps stealing people away. England itself too also has a long history with spooky folklore this time of year. We obviously have the well-loved tale, A Christmas Carol, and if anybody has a copy they can spare for our Prime Minister, I would be most grateful. I unfortunately feel this is the perfect metaphor for Britain today, and you could learn a thing or two from it. In English folklore, it was believed that the 12 days of Christmas was a time where spirits would roam, or maids in Shropshire feared the fae, stealing away their bronze goods, so they'd polish them and polish them till they blinged, just to ensure their safety. Ghost stories would traditionally be told on Christmas Eve while sat around a fire. And my family get very excited this time of year. Odin brings the children a gift each, and it tends to be something practical and more meaningful as the gift from him. And they get a couple of gifts off myself, Nim's dad, and wider family members. Now, you may think we're stealing Santa's thunder, but don't worry, he also brings a gift and a couple of gifts from myself, Nim's dad, and wider family members again. And some of Santa's well-loved traits have a deep root in Norse and Germanic folklore. Odin is reported to have rode through the sky on an 8-legged horse called Sleipnir. He would leave gifts or punishments at the places he stopped on the winter solstice. And that isn't where the similarities stop, as Odin also has the big white beard, and lots of images show him pictured in green robes, which traditionally Santa was until Coca-Cola had their way. And families would leave out a refreshing drink for Odin and some grain for Sleipnir. Thor also has yuletide connection, and he raced through the sky in his chariot pulled by 2 goats. His carriage was said to make a clatter as it raced through the night sky, with the hearth of the home being linked with Thor too. And obviously the Norse are not the only culture with folklore that has similarities to Santa. There are many others. However, obviously, I honour both my Norse and Celtic deities. So these are the ones that I'm talking about and focusing on in this vlog, because in previous vlogs I've focused on the Celtic side. I actually have ancestral links to the Norse, and one of my autoimmune conditions was actually common historically in Norse farmers due to some of the techniques that they used, putting strain on certain tendons or ligaments or something, and it caused an inherited damage in my arm. My mum also has it. So if it's strong enough to affect me day to day, it's strong enough for me to honour my ancestors. So as both the Celtic and the Norse are my primary ancestral roots, they're the ones that you'll hear me discuss the most in my vlogs. If you watched my previous vlog on Yule, you'll know about the different names, such as Yule or Yule, and I did cover that in quite a lot of detail. So it is worth popping over there to watch that one, as I'm not going to go through it again here because I'd just be repeating the same information again. And I don't want to bore people too much. Instead, I'm going to focus on our traditions as a family and how we celebrate our Yule Eve. And for us, Yule is the time of coming together, that quiet time of love, connection and reflection while planning ahead for the coming spring. And I say planning ahead for the coming spring because we grow a lot of the food that we eat. So obviously that does take a lot of time and planning through the dark half to do so, because we need to be ready to immediately start when the spring arrives. But again, the natural world reflects the inner world. So it also mirrors that time for inner reflection, inner contemplation and inner growth and inner preparations. Laying the groundwork that you're going to need in place, ready to go, rearing and energized for the year ahead. Preparing mentally and emotionally for the light half of the year. And right now in Britain, it's very important for us to be trying to find ways to keep that hope and that magic alive, especially if we do have little ones. And that can be so hard to do for us parents when we are feeling very overwhelmed by the season and the situation in general in our country and globally. So our Yule Eve is likely spent very similar to your Christmas Eve. Lots of baking together, snuggles, watching movies, our favourite seasonal movies, crafting together, bathing, fresh bedding, leaving a snack out for Odin, grain out for Sleipnir, before getting snuggled into bed with a lovely solstice story. I then leave an offering for any ancestors that may choose to visit overnight. Lots of preparations with presents and gifts before settling down with a nice mead myself before bed. In the morning, the children will wake to some gifts beneath the tree, and like I said before, they get one from Odin and a couple of other gifts. So what we do here is they have their set gifts for the season, and then it gets split between Odin and Santa. Now Odin brings one lot, Santa brings the rest, and there's always one gift from Odin and one gift from Santa, and they're always a budget, reasonable priced gift. Odin and Santa don't like to go overboard here because it takes too much away from the spirit of the season. And now this doesn't mean that they get extra, so they don't get a big load on Yule and then a big load on Christmas. It's still all very much budgeted for from the one pot. However, with my children, I find this works better because they get some gifts on Yule, which gives them a few days to play with them gifts, and then they get a few more on Christmas, and that means that they're not as overwhelmed by huge amounts of gifts, and it gives them time to play with one set before moving on to another set, and it just tends to mean that everything gets played with equally and gets equal time and gets looked at in as much detail, and nothing gets pushed to one side or anything like that because they're smaller, more manageable piles for them, so it doesn't overwhelm them too much. They get to grips with them, they get to enjoy everything that they've got without them feelings of, oh wow. It just tends to work really well for us. Alright, Laffer. That was my dog. Snoring and asleep, bless her. Oh, and I think that's Anthony just out of the bath, so I'm going to go and bath him now. And I will show you some shots throughout our day today to show you what we've been getting up to. So I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow and showing you what our Yule looks like. Wishing everyone solstice blessings from my hearth to yours. Watercolour painting.
Yes!
Do
Yay!
you want to do one?
I like watercolour painting too. I've done it before.
You can sit on this side here.
Yeah, and look.
So we're going to want some blues, aren't we? And I'm going to get some water in a minute because you have to really wet these colours.
I want a brown here.
Good.
Don't we need a paper?
I'll get them in a minute for you.
Hey, that kind of looks like green. Can we also get purple out for the moon? We also get purple out.
Yeah, we can do some different colours, right? And this is your tray here. You use that one.
I use the white for the wall.
Whoa, this one's watery,
Okay,
this.
you're doing a white wolf, I like that. Oh, you could be doing a lapper.
Yeah.
The hell, Mum, what happened to this? There's already water in it.
Do you need help, Nim?
Yeah.
See.
Oh my god, it looks like it's coming out like two.
Do you want any go, Dan?
Does anyone else know? Nobody's used to do that.
You just need tiny bits of water.
I think that one already has some water in it, that one.
Oh,
Look.
I did it.
There.
Oh, I see, it
Leave your
smells
water
like
there.
I did it
Well
the
done.
dark purple.
Well done. Make sure you put them back in the same place.
Where did you get the grey?
They're all numbered.
The grey.
Is that the brown?
No.
Well, that's what I got.
Oh
Is
yeah. That is the brown hand.
This is a light brown too, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I've been using these colours since I was 4.
Yeah, you look like Mum put this one on your plate, doesn't it?
And I also want some red.
Okay, no, that's that, isn't it?
Like blood.
Right, name?
Yes.
I put on for colours.
What? And
You
if
might have to mix the pinky one using white and red. Because that's another thing you do with watercolours, you mix them to get the colours you actually want.
and you
Maybe
can,
it's darker.
you,
Look,
well,
that's the
well, you
darker
need the
colour.
pink, you can use it.
Is that the pink?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the pink. Makes sense. There we go, Nim.
I'm gonna put this on the ground so it's like blood on the ground. And now I'm going to paint the star. Oh, I'm going to watch the brush. Oh, and I just painted it straight on.
That's okay.
How did it add the water?
You used the brush to do it.
Oh.
Watercolour is a very unique technique. You'll get it though.
Wait, is that a brown? No, that's not the brown I wanted though.
We'll make the brown you want.
Yeah, but it's too dark. I had it too much.
That's fine. Just squeeze it off your brush. I'd add a tiny bit of the white.
Mm-hmm.
And then a tiny bit of the pale browny colour here. And then mix that into it.
And it turns into the brown colour we made earlier on.
Well, it turns into a different brown. You just have to keep trying to get that shade. That's the joy of watercolour.
That's that brown. Look, Mum.
Oh, that's lovely.
Too white. Actually, that's a perfect colour.
There you go.
Yeah, I know, but the shadow, I can't see. But then my shadow's now taken over it. So just go for it now.
Light and awful, innit?
Bam! Get off of my lights.
I'll just draw the eyes back to the black. I'll just draw the eyes. There's the paint because I'm covering them up by accident. So I'll just draw the eyes. Because, yeah, I might as well draw the eyes. I might as well just paint the eyes. So let's get my colour back.
A little bit more water. Get it.
Oh my gosh, another colour.
I'm
I
bad.
didn't use water.
I can't paint with water. Well, with paint.
Well done.
Wait. Ah,
It's okay.
I need to do the other one correctly.
What are you doing? It's only 3 lines across. There we go. Well done. Are you going to do kisses?
Yes. Who's it for?
William?
William, don't watch this video.
Wait, what?
Dad's ready.